I'm here along Beach Road, and today we are following the legendary Korean variety show Running Man in search of the best food trail. Before the drinking game Apata and the Netflix special Squid Game, the first Korean game that took the world by storm was Running Man. A simple game of tag where the objective was just to rip off your opponent's name tag on their backs, has now evolved into a cultural phenomenon with its own humor, inside jokes, and fandom. Today we are visiting the places that Running Man featured in their 680th and 681st episode, starting with Blanco Court Prawn Noodles. This is a prawn noodle institution that has been around for close to 100 years, and it's also our second prawn noodles of the series. Could it be that prawn noodles are not mentioned enough when talking about what to eat in Singapore? We already had a stellar one at 545 Whampoa Prawn Noodles in the Bodin episode, so I'm really excited to see how this stacks up. A mini prawn noodle series within a series maybe. Let's get it, guys. 2号黄面汤吃的48 12块8 Okay. Alright. Oh my god. This looks so good. The way the tube is protruding the soup is almost artistic. You can see the density of the broth, you can see pork lard, and we got half prawns. But if your prawn is so big, it looked like it was the prawn that ate the other prawn, then half prawn, okay, no problem. Anyway, no yap. Try the broth first. We have spent so much money in the past 2-3 weeks, but it has not made me happier than I am right now. Why spend $150 on crab when $12.80 can get you prawns like this? These are so huge, cute and bouncy, cooked just right, and the half prawns actually work towards their advantage. You can peel out the prawns so nicely using just your chopsticks, nothing else. And the half flesh is bigger than most prawns that you might find out there. Not only that, they left the head intact so that you know you can do the tut tut, which is the best part of the prawn. Mix that in with the broth even better. I think this is now my new favorite way to serve prawn, assuming it can be so big. And we get 4 of these bad boys. $150 didn't even buy me an extra bowl to put my shells. Here $12.80 did. Sheesh. The broth really nice as well. You taste the shallots, you taste the lard, and of course you taste the prawn. Really satisfying to just gulp down. But if I were to nitpick just a little bit, the seasoning is a little bit too public for my liking. It's just a little bit too salty and a little bit too zingy. It is very common for restaurants to do this to make flavors more obvious, and I'm pretty sure seasoning food like this will sell you more plates. But for me, it takes away a little bit. It brings it further away from the flavor profile of home cooked food. I can feel it. I'm a little bit biased now. This is like my first plate of chicken rice after touching down in Changi Airport. Oh, I really want to go for another bowl. But we got our next place. So I'll see you guys at the next stop. 10 chicken, 10 mutton, 10 beef.
Yeah, any rice?
No.
24, about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We are now at Satay Street, beside Lau Pa Sat, probably the last street food in Singapore. This is where Running Man had some games of some sort. So we got ourselves some satay. Took a little bit longer than expected. They told me 20, but it's 30. It's funny that the middle store, store 8, has all the business, whereas all the other stores seemingly have no customers. Maybe it's just all the smoke they are generating at the entrance and the stanchion that they have. So anyway, we have some satay. I've got 10 of each. Let's try the satay as is first. It tastes okay. The seasoning is nice, the sauce is passable, but so rushed. On the surface, right, the cook on it may seem really nice, but it's a lie. Normally, you have the burnt parts from the heat burning the sugars in the marinade because there's very high sugar content in satay marinade, and that develops a very roasty, fragrant taste. But these burnt parts are formed by direct contact with the flames. I say that because the rest of the meat, the parts that are not burnt, is sorely lacking in the flavor of brown meat. If I take away the marinade, I'm pretty sure you're gonna see grey, slightly brown meat. And another miss is that it's cold. How on earth is it cold? Satays are flying off their counter. And then, while waiting for my satay, I got to observe them for a little bit. They don't cook your satay to order. They batch cook the satay. So they have like a tray of 50 beef going at a time, 50 mutton, 50 chicken. And then they put together your order, which makes sense. But that means that a lot of satays are being kept in the cooler boxes because the numbers won't tally up perfectly. So I suspect while waiting for the numbers to come together, the satay has cooled off already, which is really unsatisfying for satay. Like, can you imagine eating a skewer of meat and it being room temperature? I cannot really tell if the satay is cooked through because of the color. And then the last miss is very small, but I get it. Like, it's a business. 80 cents for such a piece in Lau Pa Sat, in this ambience. By the way, this ambience is amazing. Like, where else in the world can you eat satay surrounded by skyscrapers? So, the ambience is a big hit, but because it's small, there's no juiciness to speak of. I have to reference Zaino back when I was in KL. Zaino? Sorry, I mean Zaini. That really changed my perspective on satay. I used to think that satay are like, jerky-like texture, dry, but it's still skewered meat. It still follows the same rules. Maybe just a year ago, I would have been happy with this satay, but Zaini really set the standard. All that said, it's not bad. I mean, without that, I'm really hungry. Alright, let's move on to the last location. Just as I was clearing my table, I saw like a dozen prawns thrown away. I can only guess the reason why. Maybe that person remembered he's allergic to prawns after ordering. But I can't imagine it's anything positive. The prawns here are expensive, by the way, if you all remember the Mean Comment episode. Anyway, we are here already. We are now at Mei Zheng Xiang Grillery. Running Man also played some games here. And we came over a little bit late from the Satay Street, so their beverages are closed already. I only managed to get myself one slice of Applewood Smoked Bak Kwa. So anyway, recap. I realized I really love expensive cheap food. You take a cheap recipe like prawn noodles, laksa, nasi lemak, and then you go and do it properly with no compromises. Thus the higher price point. You don't jack it up because of some truffle or lobster. You still do it how it's meant to be, and you do it properly. I love paying for that kind of food. And at Blanco Court, I really ordered the jumbo prawn one. They have the normal version one, which is like 880 or something like that. Still expensive in terms of the market rate, but so worth it. And then moving on to Satay Street. Now I really wish that I tried one of the other stalls instead. The other stalls that were not rushing. I think rushing the roasting process really took a lot from it. You can see that they are blasting the fan at the charcoal, which introduces more oxygen, so they are really pedal to the metal. All the thin morsels of meats are just kissed by the flame, and then they go out. I think the cooking time might be 30 seconds, 1 minute. I rarely say this about any food establishment, but I think that particular stall earned a lot. Which is whatever, I don't really care about the business side of things. I just care that my satay not hot. 1 plate I'll walk for the dish, 2 plates I'll take a bus for the dish, and 3 plates I'll go anywhere in Singapore for the dish. And today's food trail is 3-0. To be clear, I think 545 Whampoa prawn noodles is better, but I don't think it is one tier better. It's already so interesting to compare both of them in this mini series. Like prawns, I have to give it to Blanco Court. Broth, I'll give it to 545. The cook on the noodles, I'll say is a draw. But I also done goofed up. I ordered the soup one for Blanco Court and the dry one for 545. If I ever do a series, I'll standardize as dry one, because you still get the broth by the side. As for the satay, to be fair, it is not a bad deal. 80 cents per satay steak, no plus to sit and eat in open air in CBD, along with a tiger beer. Not a bad deal at all. But if we talk about just satay, it's not the best. I think the video speaks for itself. 1 out of 20 people on the Satay Street just now was Singaporean, I think. I'm willing to roll the dice with the satay from any hawker center. And that's all I have for you guys this time. I am so happy to be back in this price range again. I feel like if you gave me a voucher for a 1-person omakase dinner, or you grab prawn noodles to my house, I'll take the grab. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.